Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. On the agenda tonight, we are going to be taking a look at Cyndi Lauper with her version of Unchained Melody. And this is something that I was asked to take a look at to determine whether there was any tuning or anything going on. So what we're going to be having a look at is her official version on her channel and another performance that she did of Unchained Melody on PBS, which I believe is a US TV channel. As always, the links are in the description below if you guys want to listen to these independently without me analysing them and interrupting the performances. We're also just going to be focusing on the lead vocal here. And I mean, it's a great arrangement here with the piano, so definitely check out the performances if you do get a chance. But I would say probably check out one performance more than the other, but we'll jump into this and see what's going on. I'm going to let them both play back at the same time, but they will go out of sync because they are genuinely live performances. It's not the same audio file being played back. Let's have a listen. So I'm going to jump in immediately because on the left-hand side we have the official video on the official channel, so Cyndi Lauper's official channel. And you might have heard there straight away that something was a little amiss. Have a listen again. And you can see clear as day on the pitch monitoring software that the auto-tune has tried to snap Cyndi's vocal to an E4, but she's sliding up. She doesn't want to go, nah. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to go, ah. She just wants to slide up to that F4. So, I mean, if you didn't hear it, we'll listen to it in slow motion. I mean, it's clear as day that that is in there and it shouldn't be in there. And I am surprised that this is in there because Cyndi would have undoubtedly have performed this live. She wouldn't have had auto-tune on her voice because I've never heard her perform live with auto-tune. She's always just sang and just done it all fully live. So this has been applied after the fact and then it's been released on her channel and maybe even as part of an album. I have to check that, but it's been uploaded to her channel and it was maybe 6 years ago, something like that. So it's not, you know, like it was in the year 2000 and that's why this has happened. Well, when I say the year 2000, I know that this was recorded a very long time ago, but they would have been able to see this in there and think, oh, hang on, her voice is getting snapped to the wrong note there with auto-tune. So before we release it, you know, in 2019, let's now just make sure that we eradicate any of these really obvious mistakes. But you know, they haven't, and they've uploaded it to the channel. So I am surprised to hear this. So what I want to do is compare this clearly auto-tuned live vocal. She would have been singing live, but this isn't how her voice sounded. What we can do is compare it to the right-hand side, which was live on PBS. And I'm relatively confident that this is the original audio because whenever I'm doing these videos, and we've looked at Cyndi Lauper's voice in the past, whenever I'm doing these videos, I always build up a bit of a file on the particular singer to see how accurate they are or maybe how accurate they aren't. So then when you suddenly see a performance that is calibrated to A440, you know exactly what's going on. So on the left, we have auto-tune calibrated. On the right, I believe this is her genuine vocal that is untuned because Cyndi Lauper's voice is all about pitch accuracy. And you'll see here, we never have a wide vibrato that covers more than even a semitone. Have a look here, that we're nowhere near the semitone of vibrato. So hitting pitches accurately is what her voice is all about. And it's why it is so unique because you cannot sing on A440. It's impossible to do that all the time. So you'll see how accurate she is, but the way that she slides to notes. Like here, really subtly just ascending. So we'll let them both play on again. And again here, ever so slightly flat, but super accurate. And of course, just so you know, on the left-hand side, we're always going to be on lines when she's holding notes because it is auto-tuned. But I mean, look at this. Like, so spot on with this minimal vibrato that's going on. And this is why her voice just sounds so unique. And of course, these lines won't go over each other because they are separate performances. You know, one's auto-tune, one isn't. And you can hear the timings off anyway. So, like, if I tried to move this over here, it's happening at exactly, I was going to say exactly the wrong place, but it's happening at a totally different time. But if I was to move it over here, you see how we are totally out of time because they are totally unique performances. But anyway, let's let it play on. I mean, here, just this ever so slight dip here, but you know, this, and look at this drift sharp as well. But when you're listening to it, it just sounds great. Her voice is so unique. And the reason it's unique is because of this, the inaccuracy. And when I say inaccuracy, you don't hear it as being inaccurate, but this is why. This is just her personality in her voice that unfortunately is eradicated on the left-hand side because it's just snapped. Lonely time. But I mean, it is amazing to see how accurate she is here on the right. And listen how we're now a little bit more in sync because one of the performances is at a different tempo, so we're kind of almost meeting in the middle here, but then towards the end they'll go out of time as well. But look at this pitch accuracy here. And again, look at this little slide up. And it's these things that you don't appreciate when you're listening to a voice because you're hearing the personality of this slide. You're not kind of pitching it in your head and trying to see it on a graph. Obviously on the left hand side, look at the difference, how this is very much an Android version. It's a mechanical version that has been plotted on a graph. So that's why it's not quite going to sound as authentic as the PBS performance. And when I said at the beginning about checking out these performances, I really do suggest that you and encourage you to go and watch the PBS performance because, you know, it's great. I mean, you can see and you can hear her voice is just great, but with the accompaniment as well. If you can hear auto-tune, this one's just really going to kind of grate because it's so stuck on A440. So slowly. And again, you know, snapped, snapped, snapped. And here, sharp, a little bit flat, touch the line a little bit flat, and then just drifting a little bit sharp. Can do and I mean, there are tiny differences going on here, you know, quite flat, but again, this little drift up. And this is something about Cyndi's voice that you might not necessarily appreciate until we look at it in detail, that she's constantly just flat and slides up. I say constantly, not all the time, but it's something that is a regular occurrence in the way that she delivers her vocal. So what does that mean? It means that rather than hitting the note between the eyes like you get with auto-tune, where there's no journey in that because you're already there. Whereas with her natural voice, she'll take you up to the G4 and that's the journey. Rather than you know, just being there. There's so much in that tiny slide. I mean, it's great as well. Here we just stopped off between notes, but it doesn't matter. Obviously snapped on the left. But I mean, look at this maintenance of pitch here. Really accurate. This is great because, again, we've just synchronized a bit. And look at that on the right hand side. So I mean, we're going to go down this whole discussion again of just trying to get to the bottom of what the point is of applying auto-tune to a voice that is this accurate in the first place. I can understand applying auto-tune to somebody's voice who really struggles with hitting pitches, and they kind of need that leg up and they need help to maintain pitch. But when you're talking about a voice like this that has the ability to maintain pitch to this insane level and be pretty much spot on A440 here, why there's the need to do this on the left hand side? And I mean, I don't want to go on about this for years, or this video to go on for years, but the problem is that people watching this will think, Cyndi Lauper, I mean, what a song to take on as well, but they'll think Cyndi Lauper has obviously been auto-tuned because she murdered this live and she needed to be put on these lines. But we've got proof that she can sing this live to what I would say is the same standard but better, because we get all of her expression here. So the problem is that auto-tuning somebody's voice can be perceived as trying to cover their inaccuracy or inability to hit pitches, but it's being used on voices that are the opposite, that are amazing at hitting pitches. And I mean, I know the fundamental reasoning for it and why financially it makes more sense to auto-tune everything, because then the less accurate singers are as accurate as the really accurate singers, and the accurate singers are going to be just squashed on these lines. So now it makes everything uniform and everybody's voice the same moving forward. So yeah, you can make just as much money from anybody regardless of their ability to hit pitches. But the problem is that, yeah, I don't know whether artists are aware of what's going on, or the level at which they are going on. So, because I'm sure that Cyndi would probably say, well, why didn't you use this one? The actual one of me singing it, why have you auto-tuned one of my other performances and you're using that as the showcase? Because someone like me, if they're asked to look at it, I will point out what's going on. So it means that we can see that this one is auto-tuned, but thankfully I have found another performance where at least we can appreciate that she does have the ability to do it. And anybody that's writing off this other video needs to watch this PBS live performance.
God speak your love to me.
Hey, and here we have the contradiction, ladies and gentlemen. We have the G4 here, which they've allowed to be slightly flat. And on the PBS show, she was directly over that G4. So here you have it. She's more accurate without the auto-tune than when she's been auto-tuned. So for me, that just eradicates any possible argument for using it in the first place if the person's going to be more accurate with their natural voice. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I mean, you can see the accuracy here, and we do have this little drift off here. But the other thing is just how consistent, I mean, she is generally, but how consistent this part of the vocal is. And I know that, yeah, we have, obviously these aren't going to match up, but because we have a totally different part here, it was totally different here, and then this was a little bit slower, and she just hit this note, but in pretty much exactly the same place, just more quickly on PBS, and then she started again flat and drifted up rather than being pretty much directly over the G4 instantly. But even with the auto-tuned vocal, listen to how consistent this sounds. I mean, there are tiny timing differences, but at this point in the song, we are so well synchronized. And now you get this change in phrasing.
To the sea, to the sea.
And this is what happens in live performances. In that particular section, the pianist and the accompaniment slowed down more than in this other performance. And that's not because they're playing to a click track or anything like that, because that would be consistent. It's just the feel. They just went with how it was feeling, and they're obviously waiting for Cyndi's cue vocally, but Cyndi just dragged that out a little bit more, and this is why now we now get this obvious timing difference. And when we are looking at a natural voice, just something to point out, when you're looking at a calibrated vocal, it is like a straight line. It is like looking at a piano on screen. But the human voice, you see all these tiny bits of pitch going up and down. The vocal cord vibrations, you're seeing the result of those on screen. It's never going to be like this, just a straight line. I mean, some singers might be able to do this maybe once, but doing it all the time like auto-tune, just it's never going to happen. See, even where we are perfectly over the A sharp 3, we're still getting these little vibrations going on. Yeah, and again, here, straight line, and these little wobbles. And here's another contradiction. They've allowed this to be flat of the C4. And guess where she did it live? Slightly flat of the C4, then we went up, slightly flat again. So this is another contradiction. Why are we auto-tuning everything, but then leaving little bits out? Because then you might as well leave it all out, because she's this good in the first place.
I'll be coming home. Wait for me.
Ooh, it sounded like we had a little bit of auto-tune wanting to snap it to that G4. I'm just going to listen to that again. Yeah. It had a little wobble there. It just went up. And that is not something that Cyndi is doing. Unfortunately, that's an auto-tune flip. So yeah, now we're back to this centralized over A440 and not giving that vocal any freedom at all. So, I mean, it might be a bit of a shorter video for tonight, but it's a video that for me on an artistic level, I do find a bit frustrating that on the official channel, that this is the one that is featured and this other one isn't on her official channel. It's just some other channel that's uploaded it from a performance on PBS. But this official one is absolutely so clearly auto-tuned with the flips going on that people might think that, she couldn't do this live and she hasn't got the ability to do this particular song because she doesn't have the vocal accuracy, all that kind of stuff, when she, absolutely does. We have to hear the high note at the end. Now, listen to this. So the live on PBS version, look at where she landed. Again, it's about as accurate as you're going to get up at this G5, by the way. And again, there, she's just got this tendency to be ever so slightly below the F4. But that's not because she should be on these lines. It's because this is emotionally where she is singing it. So it means that being slightly flat is going to sit it in the mood of the song, of the lyrical content. It's going to make it sound more somber. The pitch is absolutely essential to how we identify with the emotion of the vocal.
Your
And again, Contradiction, they allowed her to be sharp there at the end. So I guess, I mean, the reason they're leaving in the contradictions, especially right at the end here, is to try and throw everybody off that all the rest of it has been tuned. But unfortunately, if you're just leaving in a few notes, yeah, that's not going to cut it. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. But maybe it is to justify a paycheck somewhere down the line. Anyway, keep those suggestions and requests coming to requests@wingsofpegasus.com. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below, as always. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!